We're presently operating in Nevada, of course, our home base. We're in California now with these acquisitions. We will be in Massachusetts with that JV. Oklahoma, Missouri, we've got some derivative contracts that are now signed. So it's moving fast. There's a lot of work to do. We don't want to be buying any more Tonka trucks. I think I've learned my lessons. And when you acquire these companies that are losing money, not doing so great, you think, wow, what an opportunity. It ends up being you spend more trying to fix them. So we want accretive deals. We want EBITDA positive at least, and soon to be cash flow positive. And we've stuck our guns there.
Terry Booth joins me now, CEO of Australis. Terry, welcome back.
Hey man, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Great to see you again, Terry. Tell us what's new with Australis.
We're very, very busy executing on a number of M&A transactions, some JV transactions, trying to expand the footprint in the States, moving from this MSO 3 type status into MSO 2, then MSO 1. It's been excellent execution. The team that we brought on board, the management team has been there for us. The executive team has been there for us, and the board has been there for us. When you think about it, all of those were replaced back in November, and then and I didn't come on until March. So a lot of work has been done since March, but we were able to plan properly, I think, in transitioning this company to back to a cannabis company.
Sure. So then what has changed really in the last year or two?
In my life?
Well, that might be a little personal. If you want to tell us, I'm sure the audience would love to know. But no, for Australis, what's really different now?
Still married, and the kids are all great.
Well, that's good.
2.5, doing great. But what has changed at Australis since 12 months ago? They went through a dissident battle.
Okay.
Dissident battle I was a part of. I joined it a little bit later than anybody else, but it was something that we won handedly. With them, we knew probably in July of 2020 that we were going to win this, so we started planning on how we're going to reset Australis. It was a company that was making a move to turn to fintech, and the shareholders didn't like that move. They wanted it to focus its efforts on cannabis. It didn't really execute that well in cannabis, not necessarily all its fault. It's the wild, wild west in America. It's 50 different countries. You have to know your regulatory surroundings, and those could change in a heartbeat. So not all on them, right? But the group that we brought in are excellent on a regulatory standpoint. One of the fellows that works with us was responsible for securing 64 licenses for another company. So we have great confidence in him. The plan that we put forward is different than most MSOs, in fact, all MSOs. It's something that's hard to copy as well because of the ALPS deal. So we're building facilities for other MSOs, and as part of that deal, we're getting some of the canopy in some cases, and so far so good. It's worked, and it gives us a piggyback, if you will, onto their licensing. So it cuts out all that time because we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, although I'd still call it the first inning in America. And you got to pick your states, because some of the states are we don't want to be there yet. Some of the states aren't knocking on the door of adult usage yet, and others are. And the big ones are, of course, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, those East Coast guys, and that's exciting. At the 80 million people in a small area with adult usage, and nobody's there yet. Yeah, you need to be there, and we've hired, we think, the best lobbyists and connected with some of the best people in getting prepared for that entry into Eastern United States. That said, we're presently operating in Nevada, of course, our home base. We're in California now with these acquisitions. We will be in Massachusetts with that JV. Oklahoma, Missouri, we've got some derivative contracts that are now signed. So it's moving fast. There's a lot of work to do. We don't want to be buying any more Tonka trucks. I think I've learned my lessons. And when you acquire these companies that are losing money, not doing so great, you think, wow, what an opportunity. It ends up being you spend more trying to fix them. So we want accretive deals. We want EBITDA positive at least, and soon to be cash flow positive. And we've stuck our guns there. So it's interesting. The M&A team is less busy now because there's a lot of those opportunities, I shouldn't say not a lot. There's hundreds of them, but it's less. It's easier to decide, I guess, if you will. You know what I mean? It's just nope, we're not touching that one. They tell them come back next year.
You bet.
See how they're doing.
Okay, so on that note, what does the financial picture of Australis look like these days?
Well, I know if you looked at the year-end financials, it blew any previous year-end out by 1,400%, and we only booked like 3 weeks of revenue, right, as to when it finally closed, being March 31st. So, and that's all relative to ALPS. ALPS is a going concern company that's signing contracts and doing works. 70 employees. It was you can almost call it a reverse takeover with a curtain in front of it, because we back-ended the deal so that it's milestone weighted, and that allowed us to secure ALPS. The other foundational deal was GT Therapeutics, again, another company that's actually making money. So it's just going to continue to increase on the top line revenue, and the EBITDA and cash flow should follow that. I can't give you guidance on where we're going to be or how much we're going to make. We have pro formas, we have a deck. If you've got someone interested in investing, then have them call them. We'll sign an NDA and we'll get them off a deck.
You bet. You bet. So tell me a bit more about the deal with ALPS. Like, so Thomas is a champion greenhouse builder, to say the least, in the global vegetable scheme of things. So to what extent is ALPS participation with Australis involved with growing vegetables versus growing cannabis?
I think it's not just I think it's a de-risk on the cannabis side of things. As you know, it's federally illegal in the States, and the sustainable vegetable thing is massive on a global basis. And we're talking to people in the UAE, in Dubai, and in Jordan. We're talking to people in Iceland. We actually signed contracts in Iceland. We've signed contracts in America on the vegetable side of things. It's engineering design work on the cannabis side of things. We all know his prowess there is, he built Aurora Sky. The thing was running just fine when he was around. I don't know what's going on now. I have no idea. But Aurora Denmark, Aurora Sun was underway when the peelbacks happened. And his group also know how to build indoor grow. We want to stay away from the little tiny ones. There's a lot of tiny grows in the States. I'm talking 20,000, 25,000 square feet. So we're trying to stay above 50. But, interesting story, when Bellflower contacted Australis, they thought Australis was a capital company, and it was named Australis Capital. So they were looking for money. We told them at that time we're no longer a finance co, and we're a cannabis co, but let's chat about your project. I was on the call for an hour and a half out of 2.5, and these guys are seasoned growers out of Cali. They're great guys, unbelievable cannabis, by the way, excellent cannabis. They have a brand called Rapper Weed, and they are successful in obtaining a social equity license in Massachusetts, which is the best license you can get in Mass. It includes delivery, it includes the largest canopy, it includes manufacturing, it includes retail if you want it. So anyway, I digress. On that call, after 2.5 hours, I joined the last hour and a half, they were convinced that they had to have Thomas build this. And Joel was on the call as well. This is an indoor grow. And that convincing was just based on our experience. It's not like we're a bunch of smarter people. It's just that we've done it for 10 years. We've taken the hits to the head on these facilities. We've resolved many, many problems that you have when you get about 50,000 square feet. Systemic problems, powdery mildew, control of environment, very important. Nutrient delivery systems, which are the ones? They're all different cultivars. That's in our brains. And these guys were, as I said, seasoned cannabis cultivators. And at the end of that call, they knew we had to build this facility for them. So that says a lot to just our knowledge on the front end. And now we've signed with them to build their facility. And that's going to lead to other great things with them. We did get 10% of their canopy. Yeah, I didn't have to apply for a license. We didn't knock the price of Thomas's deal. But we said, you know what, we'd like some of your canopy to grow some of our great brands from GT and from Mr. Natural. So it's I think it's a good plan. So far, the ones that we've approached are all over. If you think about it, if we're building it and we're commissioning it, wouldn't they want us to stick around if they have a problem?
Yeah.
Because it's sort of on us, isn't it?
Sure.
So if we're there on 10% of the canopy, when you these systemic issues in your facilities, it'll hit us too.
Yeah.
So we're going to be very concerned, and we're going to be very, hands and boots on the ground there. So it's ALPS is just a windfall for us, without a doubt. On both the cannabis ability to grow, we have to follow that up with good regulatory prowess on which states we pick to do the work in. Like if Thomas is building a cannabis facility in Washington, I don't think I'd have a lot to do with it, just because of the restrictions on the regs. In California, you can't not be in California, but you need to be vertical in Cali, right? You need to be in each piece. So that's what we're working on, the deals that we're doing in Cali. And quite frankly, we are going to be totally vertical in California very shortly. And we've announced that. So, and chomping our bit at this East Coast stuff, it's the East Coast states, because they don't have a black, or I never call it black, a gray market grow, really. It's not like they get all their weed right now from California, Oregon, British Columbia, on the East Coast. Most of the weed comes from there still. So stepping into that regulatory environment where you're not competing against gray grow as you do in California opens up an excellent opportunity for larger facilities that Thomas builds, right? Like in New York State, population justifies larger facilities, and all they have now is a restricted medical system. So New Jersey, we were scared of because they call it these super licenses, and all the incumbents had all the verticals, or allowed to have all these verticals. They just changed it, man. Right? They are now allowing for new applicants to be involved in all verticals. That's an amazing decision, and we hope that New York follows suit there. It'd be cool.
You bet. All right, Terry, great update. We'll leave it there for now. I'll come back to you soon. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Nice fish in the background there too.
Thanks. See you soon. Bye.